there! We're installing a wall-mounted awning with a hood on top, and I will explain what a hood is when we get to that. So far I've already installed 2 of the 3 brackets. This is a 12-foot wide awning, so we need to have 3 brackets. The 2 outside ones carry most of the structural weight, and the inside one is just to stabilize the center bracket, or sorry, the back bar. So what I've done is I mounted those ones, and the tops are 6 inches from the bottom of this line. You may want to use a string line, which is fine. I just don't bother in this case because you've got a piece of comb face that is pretty straight, so I'm just using that as a benchmark. So I'm just going to go 6 inches up from here, which is where I did the other ones, and then that's the mark for the top of my bracket. So we're just going to go there. You have to have more than 2 hands for this, unfortunately. So all I do is place this right in here, and then I let that hold my bracket in place while I'm putting the GRK screw in. Now, this is lucky because there's a top plate along the whole distance. You don't need to over torque that, just make sure it's tight. Now these screws I mentioned in another video, they're great. They're called GRKs, and these ones are 3/8 by 5 1/16. And again, if you don't know what that all means, then you may want to discuss this with a professional installer as opposed to doing it yourself. And then I'm just going to put the top screw in. I'm leaving that out a little bit because I've got another piece that I've got to put up there. All right, we're back. I've just gotten this piece here. This is for the hood to mount into. You can see there's a lip at the back, so when the hood goes in, you're going to see this later. It locks into there, and then there's a set screw that slides into here, and then we just tighten that up. It's quite a nice system. And this just fits in behind that screw that I left out a ways, and then you just tighten it up. There you go. So we're ready to put our awning up in place. We have an electrician right now working on wiring, and this one didn't have a plug-in anywhere nearby, so we actually had to have an electrician come in and put a power source into the soffit. So anyway, before I forget, you want to take this bolt out, pull it out, take the nut, put it back together, and put it in your pocket, because when you put the awning up, you need to have that bolt ready, because you're going to slide it in here, and if you don't put that bolt in right away, it could fall out. So if you have to get down the ladder to go get that set screw or bolt, you may have a catastrophe. So you'll see what I mean when we put the awning in. Unwrapping the awning out of the plastic. When you get your awning, it's going to be in a box. So obviously you take it out of the box first, and then you have the plastic to deal with. Richard's really good at that. My wire is away. So once you have that up there, you grab your set screw or bolt, as you can see, if I let go of this, it wants to come out, so you don't want to do that, or you don't want to walk away from it.
Want to put yours in first, or?
No, go ahead. Got it?
Yep.
All right, Richard has his in, so I'm going to put mine in now. There you go. And then you just need a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter wrench to tighten this up. It's important that you get this good and snug. If you don't, it'll leave a little bit of room for flex when the awning's extended, and you don't want that. You want it nice and tight so it doesn't move around. There we go. Hello. We're going to put the hood together. This will come in a box, and there's a few little things to assemble. It's not too much. These are the set screws that allow you to bolt it to the brackets that I showed you earlier. They slide into this channel right here. You want to put those in before your cover, and you'll see why in a minute. Slide right into there. And also, get a close-up of these screws. You want this nut as far up as possible without coming off the threads. The reason for that is when you're up on the ladder, it'll be easier for you to slide it into place. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the end plate on. So I'm going to use this. We take a tiny dab of cutting oil and just put it on the edge. These are stainless steel screws, which are great for anti-corrosion, obviously, but they're very brittle. So do not use an impact gun. Use a regular drill or a screwdriver if you want. So I put that on the end. It's a Phillips screw, unfortunately. So what I do is I put this through here, and I can just let this dangle while I focus on screwing this in. And I just go slow, let the cutting oil do its work, leave that a bit loose. Get another dab of cutting oil. I can't stress this enough. The cutting oil is magic stuff, and like it just prevents you. If you break the screws off in there, it's hard to get them out. This one I'm going to torque up tight, and then I'll go back to the first one and torque it up tight. And you don't have to go crazy. It just needs to be snug so it doesn't rattle. And again, a little bit of cutting oil. You don't have to go crazy with the cutting oil. It'll feed itself back on the threads while you're putting it in. You don't want it dripping all over the place. There. So that's done. We're just going to put the other side in, and then we'll show you how to put the hood up in place and fasten it. All right, Richard and I are going to put the hood in place. This is pretty easy. You just got to line up everything on the screws. You go ahead with yours, Richard, and then I'll put mine in after. Okay, there we go. And we got one more over here. You just have to hold your mouth the right way. There we go. Just make sure it's centered properly. And then you just tighten these nuts here. Got the hood installed, and I'm just going to do the last set screw, which is right here. So basically just reach in there and tighten it kind of tight. There we go. And then go with a 13 millimeter wrench and just tighten it up. Again, doesn't have to be over torqued. Everything we use and supply you is stainless steel, and so if you over tighten stainless steel, the threads will collapse and you'll never get it apart. So this awning is pretty much complete, and we're going to get off the ladder, and then I'll go over a few things about the installation that you should be aware of that we kind of always take for granted because we do a lot of these. All right, like I said, we're all done. We're back on the ground, which is comfy. I'm going to use my tape measure as a pointer. This awning was extremely easy to install because up here we had some solid backing the whole distance, so we didn't have to search around for backing, which was really nice, and it made it very quick. However, in some cases, depending on your situation and the type of siding you have and everything else, you're going to have to find backing. And in this case, there'd be a stud right here, most likely here, and in all the other places. So that would have been also fairly simple. And again, I can't say this enough. If you're not familiar with construction framing in a house or commercial building, hire someone that knows what they're doing, and we can refer you to somebody. We have no problem with that. We have a PDF with all of our contacts nationwide. We've got installers in most major cities and in a lot of the smaller centers as well. And if not, we can perhaps refer you to a local technician of some sort. But the other thing I wanted to say about this is that we centered this over the window, so it's exactly 4 inches on each side. And before we put the awning up, I had put a small pencil mark up there, so we didn't just guess where it had to go. So these are some of the things you're just going to want to consider. We're going to operate the awning here shortly. It's already been connected. Like I said before, we had an electrician put a circuit up in the socket. So the awning is plugged in, and we're going to run it out and do all the adjustments, and we'll show you how to do that as well. All right, the awning's installed and connected, and we're going to extend the awning out. The wiring is still loose because we're not finished yet, but we wanted to show you how to extend the awning with the down button, and also to adjust the slope of the fabric, which I'm going to do right now. All right, so when the awning's fully out, basically all you do is you pull these caps off. One here. And if you can't get these off because they're pretty tight on there, just use use a small flat screwdriver to pull them off a little bit. So all you have, this is a 17 millimeter wrench, and all you do is loosen that off a wee little bit, and then you take a 13 millimeter wrench and you loosen this and to bring it down. So we're just going to bring this down an inch or two just so that water drains off in case it rains. And once you got it where you want it, you just tighten these back up. Otherwise, the set screw is taking all of the weight and stress when there's wind. Okay, that's done, and it's very simple to put that back on and the two caps. There you go. Now I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to level everything off. Now that I've lowered this side, you got to do it with both sides.